So here we are live from BCR Music and Sound in beautiful downtown Lemoyne with the proprietor of said shop, Greg Platzer. And we are back here at what I affectionately like to call Greg's Happy Place.
I live it.
Greg is a gigging musician. He has this wonderful store here in Lemoyne. You can watch all about it in another segment. But we wanted to come back here and kind of show the part that I think brings Greg life and what he does back here behind this wall in the back of his store. So maybe tell us about what you do back here in Greg's world.
All right, well, thank you. I fix things. I have been working on guitars since I was a little kid, and at 55, I've worked on many thousands of guitars. I do repairs for Cheap Trick, Aerosmith, Alice Cooper, Tragically Hip, Ted Nugent, blah, 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 The Cult, Green Day, whatever. And what I like to do is take guitars that other people say can't be fixed and try to fix them. And sometimes I'm successful. Most times, I'd like to say. I don't really like to talk about this. It's
But I'm
kind of
asking,
weird.
I'm asking him to. I told him
Yeah,
before,
this-
you can drop names so heavy back here we can't pick them up. It's fine. It's
Well,
perfectly
I
fine.
can't even remember, so I have to look at all the
Well, Brad
backstage
Witford's
passes.
guitar is hanging right there for starters.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like, you
yeah,
just
let's
go
do
right
that,
for that.
yeah. Brad Whitford of Aerosmith. This is his 7-Up custom shop Strat. No serial number, made for Brad. We've seen this happen as an Eric Clapton model, and we've seen what this guitar is doing before. They used bird's eye maple, and they sealed it, and the wood might not have been dry enough. And what happens is as the wood dries, it shrinks, and eventually, in this case, the truss rod won't straighten the neck out. The neck is like this. So the skunk stripe's coming out, and another truss rod's going to go in. Skunk stripe's coming back in, refinish the neck, and send it back to Brad, and Brad will be happy. We did this for one of Eric's guitars, and we did it for a guitar that Eric had given to a good friend. Bird's eye maple sometimes can not be the best material for making necks. Keep that in mind. It's great looking stuff, but it's not the most stable. I have a lot of the stuff I do can be minor. This is a Gibson custom shop, Dwayne Allman, and somebody tried to install new tuning machines, and they somehow drilled this hole all kinds of weird. So what I'm doing is I'm filling it in with mahogany and the proper materials, and when I'm done with it, you won't know that I was there. That's what I like to do is fix something and have people not even know that it's fixed. 9 times out of 10 inside the cavity we'll put the date that we did the repair. I have on this bench the earliest Charlie Christian. It's all clamped up, but I'll grab it. The earliest Gibson Charlie Christian I have ever seen. It's a 1935. That's all right. It's glued on.
Part of it.
That's a
Part of
drip.
it. This is the custom work here. It's padding. Padding so you don't sweat on it.
No, that's glue drip.
Yes.
1935. No B-string separation in the magnet. This guitar was completely wasted, and actually the resurrection of a lot of these guitars you can find on our Facebook page, because what I try to do is photograph the steps and show you what all's involved. But I just really like to make vintage stuff stay vintage. I like modern stuff to stay modern, and the most common thing we do here, setups where people will buy a guitar online, they'll get it in, they'll be very unhappy with the way it plays. They'll bring it to us, and we'll go through everything that's necessary to make it a much more comfortable player. And sometimes we might recommend a change in a bridge or electronics or whatever, but we do that all day long. And then the stunt repairs, the really crazy stuff like this, there's always that kind of stuff going on. It's not unusual to have a few $1 million worth of guitars just hanging here.
Right.
In fact, I think that's true right now.
What's the other than maybe this, because I don't know your whole success story, but what is the biggest resurrection you've performed back here, or maybe one that just really stands out to you that like
Well,
that maybe even you went, I don't know, and then boom, there it is.
one of the highest profile ones was John Bon Jovi's Gold Top Les Paul. They were in rehearsal, and somebody tripped over a cord. It fell off a steel and aluminum stage section, and it broke the headstock very severely. So when that guitar got here, it was re-neck it or fix it, and I decided to fix it. And the tough part was it's all gold. The back and sides were gold as well as the top. So we got it back together, stabilized it, supported it, and then resprayed the back and blended it in. And John expressed great pleasure when he got the guitar back. That's a very high profile one. I did a bunch of stuff for Walter Becker, rest his soul.
Yep.
One of my favorite people in the world, and I was his repair guy, and I did a bunch of stuff for him. I don't know. There's just been so many guitars. It's hard to have any one that sticks out, but every time I think that I've seen it all, something else comes in. Like this will be a guitar soon. It's. By the way, this is the messiest repair shop of all time.
It's true.
Because I really need to stop every now and then and clean, but I'm too busy. So.
I guess kind of one more question. I don't know if it's ever one more question for me.
Well, as many as you want.
Because I said you could drop as many names as you want, and I'm seeing all the backstage passes. Like, what is, to use a Nashville term, based on what you've done here, what's the coolest hang you've been able to do? The coolest, like, wow, I can't believe here I am standing here, and what just happened? You know, somebody pinched me, right? Like, I know it never gets old, right? But like, what's that moment where I'm like, how did this happen? How does some gritty kid from the streets wind up, back here?
Let's see. Probably a couple of these. Lita Ford. Her favorite guitar, she named it Maurice. It's a black BC Rich, and the headstock was broken, and they were going to junk it, and I fixed it. And when we went to meet up with Lita, we walked backstage, and she's the band is sitting around on their phones, and she's laying on the floor with her 2 puppy dogs. And we got to be friends. Sarah and I got to be friends with Lita and the dogs, and it was just great because I've always admired Lita because she's classy. I mean, there were a
pioneer in the female guitar playing world, right?
She has taken a lot of crap, but she's always been who she is. So Lita, bless you, I love you. This might be one of my proudest possessions, though. We've hang out with ZZ Top a lot, and we were backstage with ZZ Top at Wolf Trap, Sarah and I, and Elwood, ZZ Top's guitar tech, is like a brother to me. Elwood went downstairs to talk to the band, so it was just Sarah and I in Guitar World. Guitar World is where all the guitars are in the stands, where the roadie tunes them and everything, and there was nobody else. And I looked around, and the gravity of this hit me like, wow, I am surrounded by Billy Gibbons guitars and Dusty Hill's basses, and there's nobody. They trust us.
Right.
And an interesting thing, the band opening up was one of my favorite bands called Blackberry Smoke. And Charlie Starr, the lead singer and songwriter and guitar player, comes up and upstairs from downstairs, and which is what you do when you come upstairs. You come up from downstairs. You do. And he saw me, and he walked right over and introduced himself. And I said, well, I know who you are. And I said, why did you introduce yourself to me? And he goes, well, man, we've been playing with these guys for a while, and you're all alone. You two are all alone in Guitar World with nobody around you. You're somebody I need to know. And Charlie has become a very dear friend. I highly recommend everybody go see Blackberry Smoke. But there's been so many hangs. I mean, and I'm not real comfortable about talking about it. Like, some of the people are very, very close personal friends. Some are just professional people I do business with, and I don't want anybody to think that just because I hang out with famous people, I'm anything other than who I am, which is just a schmuck with a guitar shop in nowhere, Pennsylvania.
Beautiful downtown Lemoyne.
Beautiful downtown Lemoyne. but I'm very fortunate. I will say that as a kid, I had posters on my wall of Aerosmith and Cheap Trick and Van Halen and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and a few other bands, and with two exceptions, one being the Beatles and one being Queen. Though I have met I should say Dr. Brian May. With two exceptions, I have actually done work for every band that I had a poster on my wall, and I have cell phone numbers of the people that I got into this industry for, to sit backstage with Ace Frehley or
that bag right there. That's
yeah. Stuff race. To sit backstage with Ace Frehley, who was the guy that really, he was larger than life as a youngster. Or we have a dinner date with Vince Gill at the NAMM show, and I'm really looking forward to hanging out with Vince again. I do find myself just kind of pausing and thanking the good Lord that I've been able to turn this into a living, and that I'm surrounded by good people that help me do this. No business is any one person. This business is multiple people. Everybody works together. And so when I go away and I'm gone for a few days on a business trip or working for a band or something, the guys are doing a great job back here taking care of customers, keeping the business running. So this is not just Greg at BCR. This is BCR. This is an ensemble cast, and it needs to be said that any small business that you go to is never one individual. It's going to be multiple people, and in this case, I set the bar high with the staff, and I got it, and so my other repair guy, Skip. Is fantastic. I trained him, and he does great work. He's very, very consistent. Turnaround's great. Jared, the sales manager, knows what he's doing, takes care of people. He stays up on all the products, and that allows me to kind of hide back here and get sawdust in my hair, and that makes me happy.
So we do really enjoy coming back here into the vault. It's kind of a little bit of hallowed ground, right? Like some of the things that happen back here, but it happens for your everyday customer too. You've said that too. Free setups for life.
Yes.
You buy something here.
Rock stars are just average people that got really lucky or are super talented, but everybody gets a fair shake here. In fact, there have been situations where rock stars, where a management company for a band will want to send me a bunch of guitars, and I'll decline because it will put us too far behind with our everyday customers. Our customers are very, 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 very cool. I have had situations where a guitar's been in progress for a while, and then I will get like a bunch of Cheap Trick guitars, let's say, or what have you, and then I'll call the customer and say it's going to take a little while because this happened, and they'll say to me, "That's cool, I dig it. I realize that's what you're doing."
Right.
So I'm very fortunate in that way that I have the support of 98.7852% of my customer base.
Yeah.
There's always that one guy that is doing a huge show in his living room on Tuesday night,
That's
and
right.
he needs his guitar yesterday,
That's right.
and for half price.
That's right. There's always that guy.
Few and far between.
That's that guy. So we've enjoyed being back here. Congratulations to you for being in business for 25 years. And we'll probably put some kind of tag up there to go look at the view of the store with all the products you carry. You're a dealer for many products, which is very difficult to do these days as an independent guy. So again, truth be told, this is the second time we've invaded Greg's space before he opened the store, and we really appreciate that. And thank you for showing us the soft underbelly of the rock and roll world back here. So,
Well, thank you, sir.
always a pleasure, man. All right, we're out. He's out.